Hey everyone, Matt Montala here. And school's back in session. Everything's going well so far. But let's talk about that in a future video. And I know my hair is kind of messy. I just got done taking a shower. So I can review this movie for you. Which I know I probably too late to review this, but I just saw this movie today and thought I'd talk about it. And that is Kubo and the Two Strings. The trailers for this movie came out and I was blown away by all of them. Every single one of these trailers kept me interested the whole way through. So, I thought I'd go see it. And what did I think of it? I'm going to start off by saying that I know what you're thinking, that I'm probably the biggest animation guy ever. And that might be part of why I love this movie with a passion, but it's also because I love to see movies that live up to my expectations. Kubo and the Two Strings was just wow. It stayed true to my expectations and more. Let me start off by saying that this movie is so beautifully animated. This is stop motion animation. It's brought by the people that brought us movies like Coraline, Paranorman, and The Box Trolls. And Kubo, right here, is probably their best film. The animation is one of the reasons why. I mean, there are so many moments where you can look at it and you can't even tell if it's stop motion. Like if they just, oh my gosh, this is just such great animation. And what better way to talk about Kubo and the Two Strings without talking about Kubo himself? Well, actually, all the characters are amazing. I should talk about. Kubo himself is a very likable kid. And he's also very brave, which I really like in kid characters. He was one of the best kid characters that I've seen in a long time. There's also this monkey that looks after him. And she was just a great character as well. Charlize Theron was amazing as this monkey. And you also have this beetle character who's played by Matthew McConaughey, who's actually supposed to be like the comic relief of the group. And he was amazing as well. And there's also the villain of the movie, who a lot of people didn't find to be anything special. I thought he was. And one thing that I do love about this movie is the fact that it is able to take a look at very adult themes, like family loss, which is actually the main theme of this movie. They just handled it so well, and they talked about it in a way that both adults and kids can understand it. I am actually very sure of what kids might think of this movie because of the fact it's a lot more smarter and more clever than what they usually watch. I've always thought that in my head of what they might think. And also, I love the fact that this movie can be seen as a very epic adventure with very adult themes in it. Or they can just look at it as a fun adventure. I saw it both ways. And it just kept me interested the whole way through. There was not a single dull moment in this entire movie. And it's just filled with originality. Like, there's so much such a mouthful. There's just so much originality that is just splashed all over this entire movie. And it just made the movie so much more interesting. And it's a movie that's actually filled with charm and imagination and wonder. And this great sense of adventure throughout. And a lot of emotional impact throughout. And it might actually be one of those movies that encourages kids to use their brains, which I find very, very interesting, because you don't usually see kids' movies like this nowadays. It's just, oh my gosh, I really wish this movie made so much more money than it's already making. Because honestly, it doesn't feel like I get movies like this anymore. It just feels like a gift that I had a movie like this that is so original, so emotionally impacting, beautifully animated, very well written, very funny at times. I just don't feel we get movies like this anymore. It's one of those words like, hey, well, it's actually kind of like another movie that came out this year, The Nice Guys, where it felt like, hey, we're sorry for the fact that you had to sit through a lot of saturation this summer. I know summer's already over, but come on, work with me here. Just when this came out, everyone was just blown away by it, and just so mind blown by the fact that we finally are getting some original things that people can love. There was also another movie like that I reviewed last time called Sausage Party, which was another very original movie in how it's told and how it's done. Because people could look at this movie and say, oh, there's so many elements from other movies in this movie. But honestly, I think it's the way that they do it that makes it good. And the way that Kubo took everything together and made it into one movie just blew me away. So yeah, I highly recommend that you watch Kubo and the Two Strings as soon as you can, and I'm gonna give it an A+. Wow. 2 A+s this year, and both of them are animated movies. Yep, you can probably tell how this year has been for animated movies. Well, at least so far. Well, that's all I have to say about Kubo and the Two Strings. I highly recommend it. Please support this movie, because the studio that is making this, that made this movie, Focus Features and Leica, they're going through a ton of struggles, and they will become extinct if no one sees this movie. Because usually the movies don't make a lot of money, and I really wish they would. Studio Ghibli actually went through the same thing. They didn't make enough money, so they had to shut down. So I really hope that you give this movie some support. And that's all I have to say about it. I'll see you guys later. Bye.